Welcome everyone to the League of Cinephiles. I'm your host Alex Ulmer. With me today is the great Hunter, the Ace of Spades Friesen, and today it's the 31st, guys. It's Halloween. We're not done with our spooky season content. We have another CINEMAWARS episode to bring you all. The prompt being, what is the scariest horror movie? Now, Hunter, it's Halloween. I know you're not a big horror guy yourself, but you know, what is it about the season in this genre that always kind of gives you goosebumps on your arms when come the 31st?
Well, it's always that everyone's been doing their movie challenges, everyone's been dressing up this whole month, and it finally comes together on this actual day. So everyone, you got one last day to go all out before we head into the holiday season. Now, what is their big, send-off message? Yeah, what's their big send-off? And this is what our guys are going to be talking about today.
And before we get started, Hunter, I'm going to ask you one-word answer. What is your best Halloween costume that you've ever worn?
Well, it's not one word. Let's say it was Ghostface. I was hadn't seen the movie at that point. I thought he was cool.
You haven't seen the Scream movies. It's cheating.
I was like 12 years old. I was like, hey, he looks really cool. I was like, I don't know, it doesn't matter.
I think mine would be I dressed up as a zombie killer one year, so
zombie killer. So
my best one.
The guy who killed the zombies.
Yeah, kind of like Brad Pitt, because I already get, people already think I look like Brad Pitt already, so it's like World War Z, zombie hunter,
I mean, you might as well bridge the gaps right there, it's not hard, it's true.
But anyways, let's not waste any more time. Let's get to our three competitors today who will debate this fun prompt. First, we have, representing the commission, Lucky Boy Reviews, back to the league.
Good to be back. Thanks for having me again.
For sure, Lucky Boy, best Halloween costume.
1 year, I went as Little Wayne, and it was probably my most fun costume I ever did.
All right, now you have to.
That's unexpected answer.
And it was actually still hilarious, but I did the gold fronts, I had dreads, and I did it all out. I didn't do a blackface or anything, but.
Well. Now to the second competitor, Sully, also representing the commission. Sully. You know what?
How we doing, everybody? Once I went as Dr. Dre. No, I'm kidding.
My God. All right. This episode's not airing.
I think was when I was a kid, I went as Super Mario, and my mom super glued the mustache to my face.
Now, last but not least, the CINEMAWARS champion representing the Watchers, Agnolo, best Halloween costume.
Oh my God, 5 minutes in, one says looks like Brad Pitt. The other one dresses as, what's going on? Like, best Halloween costume. I don't know, I think I went with, Freddy Krueger once. I had, a friend that did really cool makeup, so it wasn't a thing, it looked really cool.
Guys, and if you're new to the League of Cinephiles, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow all these wonderful creators on their accounts. You can find the links for those in the description below. But Hunter, what do we have for this match?
Well, it's not a trivia round. It's a CINEMAWARS match here, but there'll be still a couple rounds. There'll be 3 rounds: opening statement round, rebuttals, and closing statement round. There'll be a cinema-related prompt in which the competitors must find an answer for. They don't know it yet, so hopefully it's right in their wheelhouse. But that wheel will be spun to determine who will pick their answer first. Competitors will argue on behalf of their answer and will debate against the other ones. And the judges will grade each competitor at 5 points. And then, of course, one with the most points going to be declared the winner.
And as Sully knows, the spin again slice, I did not choose it. It comes with the wheel automatically. So if it lands on that, as it says on the slice, we will spin again.
Hope we spin again, man.
Forever.
Lucky Boy first.
When I was younger, the movies that scared me a lot were jump scare movies. Things that kind of were just popped in your face, made you nervous. And but as I've gotten older, psychological stuff has kind of gotten more, it doesn't leave me. And the movie that genuinely to this day still freaks me out, and I didn't really love it the first time I saw it in the theaters, was It Follows. And the idea that there's this thing that never stops coming for you, even if you have to shed your whole life, you have to keep running, you have to keep moving, and the only way to get rid of it is to pass it on. And just that inner turmoil of doing that to somebody else. And even if that person dies, it's coming back for you again. So just the mental terror that would do to you can never really shake this thing.
Spin again, Slice. As always, for some reason it disappears after the first
come
spin.
on.
So,
God,
So
don't
only
like
two
my chances
slices.
on this.
Oh, come on. Stay blue.
I think it will, Sully. I think you're safe.
I think there's not a lot of options there.
The best and most effective horror movies ever made make you afraid of something, you know, you can't avoid, something you see every day, just in your everyday life. And to me, that's why Jaws is the scariest movie ever made. To this day, people are still afraid to go in the water because they saw that movie. When I saw it when I was a kid, I thought a shark could show up in a goddamn swimming pool. So it, you know, really kind of had to change the course of some of the stuff that I did because I didn't want to swim after seeing this movie. So I think Jaws is the scariest movie ever just because, you know, sharks, you know, there's movies about ghosts and hauntings and paranormal activity. Sharks are a real thing. Great whites are massive. There's countless accounts of, you know, people being eaten every year. Obviously, it's not to the point that it is in the movie, but that movie, you know, making people afraid of the water and never wanting to swim at the beach ever again proves to me that Jaws is the scariest movie ever made.
For me, I had to pick a movie that goes against what sometimes I say it doesn't scare me. I'm not really scared about things that are supernatural because I don't believe in God. I don't believe in a lot of those things. But there's a movie that breaks that mold, and that movie is The Exorcist. And just because of the simple fact that it's something that's happening to someone that we love. This mother that's seeing this happening to her child, and it could be very seen as also a mental issue kind of thing. In the beginning, you never know where it's going. And when it goes into the full horror of seeing someone that's so close to you that you have so many feelings about it, and you can't do anything about it, it really, really scary. And after 50 years, it still works like it did at the time. It scared people to the cinemas. People were fainting. People were screaming. I had friends that had to go to the psychiatrist because of watching this movie when they were younger, because it just gets on your mind and you don't know what it is. So it's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of having something happen to someone and you can't do anything about it.
That's going to do it. So now we're going to grade you all out of 5 points each. There are 3 judges today, and we will get back to you shortly with the scores. All right, so the scores have been calculated. Hunter, your brief thoughts on the round.
But they all went into their own separate opinions why their movie was uniquely scary. Nobody really has the exact same reasons for why there's it.
Let's get to the scores. As of right now, Agnolo at 12, Lucky Boy at 11.9, and Sully at 11.5. As we go to the rebuttals, guys, whoever wants to get started.
Yeah, my only thing is that, like, Jaws is one of the movies that, in terms of scary, influenced me the most. But he has a very easy solution. Don't go in the water, okay?
Yeah,
Shark is not going to come out of the water
fair,
and chase
that's
you.
fair.
And that's my only thing. But I do agree. I was afraid of going in the water, especially at night. I just think people are retarded to go at night in the water. But if you don't want to go in, get out of the water, get in a bigger boat, and you're safe. Like in like for Lucky Boy's reviews, I do agree it is scary that constant being chased. But I always think the scariest thing for me, and maybe it's especially after I became a father, is seeing something happen to a loved one. If I have to pick with something happening to me or something happening to someone, I will always pick it happening to me. And that's why I think that part of it follows, that it just keeps chasing you. And then
But
the
it's
solution is like
multifaceted.
passing it to a random stranger.
To someone, which is also going to fuck you up because you have to do this horrible thing to someone else. So it's like not only the dread of like dealing with it, then you have to give it to someone, and that guilt, like just the layers of fucked up this thing will do to you. And it just.
But the thing is, you can give it to someone you don't like.
Exactly.
That is the thing.
That's
It's with
the
sex.
thing.
You can go to an ex-girlfriend that made your life a living hell, and you'll give it to her, and it'll be like, ha ha. Okay, so that is the thing. It's not happening to someone that you love specifically, and I think that is like what is something that didn't really work, because you see in the movie like this guy just passes it to someone, and he doesn't really care, and he goes away. The Exorcist just keeps getting on your mind over and over, and being 50 years old and still being considered one of the best horror movies yet, and still having people today watching it for the first time and being scared shitless, even if they don't believe in the devil or demons, I think that shows just how strong that concept is.
See, I'm a huge horror fan, and I've never finished The Exorcist because I think it's cheesy. I don't know why. Like, it's never scared me, and I've always thought like it kind of looked super dated. And I still like the idea, but it's like I've seen so many Exorcist movies since then because it came out way before I was born. And when I would watch The Exorcist, kind of what I was saying with my nephew when he saw the Meg and the Jaws didn't work with him as well. That's kind of me with The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And I get why people love it. And I wish I was there in the 70s because I heard people were puking in the theater. They were passing out. Like, it was that intense. But for me, like, being the age I'm at now, and first time I saw it, I think I was like maybe 15, and it just didn't hit quite the same way.
There's definitely a little bit of the cheese and the dated, but it's like it's like the Beatles of you know, exorcism movies and stuff. And like I went on to love some of the other ones too. Like I love The Last Exorcism that came out way later, like and it's PG-13, and that one scared me. Like I thought that was
most.
and the thing about It Follows that I kind of agree with Unyolo too is I was just thinking if you want to buy yourself some time, just like give it to a prostitute or something, like, you know, like get this thing away.
Guys, it's coming back for you. It never stops.
Well, I know, but she's gonna give it to someone else because of her profession.
Yeah, but it's never keeps going.
Like, always thinking ahead. She's gonna give it to a lot of people before it comes to you.
I can get away with
it's never off your mind. You can never actually escape it ever. Like, it's never gonna go away. And when it's coming for you, it's slow. It barely moves. It's just, but it's always coming. That mental dread. I feel like eventually you just commit suicide. You couldn't live with it.
Unyolo's,
that's why it fucks with me so much. It's because you cannot escape it.
What you're saying, to get out of Jaws, you just don't need to go in the water. Then this is probably a little bit harder. But if you don't want to be affected by this thing, hunting you down your whole life, then be celibate.
You gotta kill yourself.
Just be celibate, then you'll never be hunted. Like that was.
That's harder than going into the water. I have to admit.
But you know, it's like
I can do without going into the water. The rest is not that easy.
Yeah.
The problem with like when we say The Exorcist looks a little bit dated, and people today, 100%, people today like scary movies that have jump scares. But the thing is, the scary movies that stay in your head, and that's why there's so many exorcism movies after this one, was that they created something that no matter who you are, no matter your beliefs, there is something still there. And like I said, since I became a father, I think a lot, like if something like this would happen to my kid, because like take the demon away and do a mental disease that's like making this girl going nuts. And what you do, you feel completely hopeless. And that's the scariest thing, when you are hopeless. All the other ones, their solution. Jaws, get on a boat, get on the beach, go to a club, like be celibate in the club so you don't get any follows. But all of them, there are solutions. But this one, if you can even call it exorcist like they do in the movie. But we see that it still doesn't end well for anyone. Like I said, in It Follows, you probably commit suicide. In my movie, I don't have that chance, because if I commit suicide, my kid will still be in danger. So I think that is the biggest thing in The Exorcist.
Disease that this thing was haunting them and never stopped coming from. Dude, you have to shed your life, your family, everything, because you have to keep moving. You have to outrun this thing constantly. And even if you passed it on, you're hoping it's 3 or 4 people down the chain. But then you're checking, like, did they die? Is this thing still coming for me? And eventually, like, you have to shed your entire life. You cannot even sit still.
Just one thing I have to say. If there wasn't Tinder, it would be a lot scarier. In the age of Tinder, there's a lot of way to get rid of it.
So I think that it obviously depends on all of your own personal beliefs. But the other 3 movies we're talking about, the fear of a shark attack is an actual real thing. And it's like, you go out into the water, and the movie Jaws doesn't just evoke the fear of, like, sharks. Obviously it does. But, like, fear of the ocean, fear of like the unknown. Like they're still to this day finding new species that are
But
like
I watched
humans weren't
Jaws
meant to be in the water. You know what I mean?
But it's not scary anymore though,
Oh,
because
it's
I really
scary.
watch it for fun. Like it's just like I just like the movies.
All right, Hunter. So we finished the rebuttal stage. What were your brief thoughts on the round?
The work around the tangible and intangible elements of like, you know, Jaws versus The Exorcist. What exactly is scary about both of them? The same with It Follows. Your solution is just to be celibate. But really, is that a clear solution? That's what Lucky Boy said. Is that really the solution here? Is that going to solve
That's
all
an
your
argument
problems?
for a
No, it's
different
not.
day. Well, that's the next CINEMAWARS episode.
Yeah, there you go. And then same with Unyolo, who's not on your fear, but the fear of other people being hurt. So that one I loved about it. It's horror that is not centered around you. It's centered around everyone you love, and you are hopeless to do it.
So the scores at the moment: Unyolo at 24.6, Lucky Boy at 23.6, and Sully at 22.7. As we head to the closing arguments.
When I was racking my brain about what movie I wanted to do last night and thinking about it more and kind of just looking up why other people thought Jaws was scary as well, I came across an article that said there are tons of doctors out there that help people work through their phobias, and they were talking about how, you know, being afraid of going in the water and a shark attack is about as being, you know, rational as being afraid of like a T-Rex attack in the middle of Manhattan, basically. Like, it's not going to happen. But these doctors were saying they couldn't even with a straight face, like, help console these people through their phobias because they were scared shitless from Jaws too. Like, and that shows how effective of a horror movie it is, that even though we're agreeing, like, yeah, stay out of the water, like, do this one simple thing, boom, you're not going to face a shark. The fact that it still scares this many people out of the water, this niche scenario that is easily avoidable, is still terrifying to everybody across the planet whenever they see Jaws for the first time, proves that it's probably the most effective and scariest horror movie ever made.
The reason I chose It Follows is because I am a huge horror fan. I've watched almost every scary movie I can get my hands on, and that concept, for whatever reason, hit me harder than most horror films I've seen ever. Like, it was one of those things that just kept sitting with me, and I'm like, if that is probably the scariest situation that I could possibly imagine, is the concept that this movie came from. And it was brilliant. It was just so original and like just a new idea. And Jaws is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. The Exorcist, I like it a lot, but they're, I mean, not dated, but a little bit dated.
Okay, so like to start off, going on researches, last year only 9 people died by a shark attack. So it's not really a serious thing. And if you watch Discovery Channel, Shark Week, it just became like a national pastime. Everyone kind of loves watching sharks. So they're not that scary because they wouldn't be looking at it. Lucky Boy, like I said, like this is a movie of all of ours that's the most recent one. It didn't stand the test of time. And even today, not a lot of people are talking about it. The Exorcist is going to be 50 years old. It's still scary as hell. It might not look visually the same, but scary it is. And because we don't want to lose the people we love. And it's all about, like, if you believe in God, and a lot of people do, it's even scarier. For people like me, just the point of being helpless and seeing someone just crumble down, and all you can do is start believing in God in some way, and that's still not going to help you. So for me, the scariest movies are the movies that stick with you, is the movies that you can't stop thinking, and in your head you can find a solution. Jaws, get out of the water. Lucky Boy, like, just don't have sex, okay? That's it. Just like, I'm saying, like, there is solution.
To leave it off. All right. So we'll be back to you with the scores.
I'm really surprised only 9 people died by a shark. I would thought it would be a lot more people.
Yeah, but it was the 9 people that were courageous enough to get in the water. You know, that's it. No one else got in. Like, that was what happened.
That would have been a good comeback.
Well, I said mine first. I would have said that.
So, Hunter, your thoughts on the round?
Well, I mean, we had they used their final opportunities well. I mean, I thought Sully did the best. Were the unrational fear of sharks. Sure, it's unrational, but that's why it's so scary. Is you shouldn't be scared of it, but yet you still are. Great arguments all around to close it off. So I'm very excited to see how this is going to turn out
Spooky
here.
results. Yeah.
I'm scared
Do we
right
get
now.
M. Night Shyamalan a twist, or are we going a bit more straightforward slasher Friday? Oh, I guess Friday the 13th has a twist. Never mind. All right, and your winner, and still the CINEMAWARS champion of the world, Big J from Agnolo. The final score being 36.3 to 36.2. Sully had it. We all loved Sully's argument there. We gave him really high scores across the board. However, Agnolo still able to edge him out by 0.1. Loved your argument, Sully. Lucky Boy, not so much. But you know, still great job nonetheless. But Agnolo, you're the victor here once again. Your thoughts?
No, it was like again, people are getting better and better every time I do this. It keeps getting closer, and I just think we have some great people now that in CINEMAWARS they're getting better and better. So I'm really happy that I won. It was a lot of fun. Still wanted to defend The Father, but I think The Exorcist is kind of the similar movie to The Father. Sully did a great job, and Lucky Boy. Just hope he's careful now. Who's having sex with? Like that's it.
The man was, no. The man is a married man. I'm not gonna do this to him. His wife could be watching. I'm not gonna slander the man. All right, but congratulations on YOLO.
Thank you.
We now get to Sully and Lucky Boy. Now, guys, sorry to do this, but as your punishment for Sully, you came close. Worst Halloween costumes, guys. You got to do. You said your best. What's your worst now?
I'm gonna be a leprechaun this year.
Ah, yes. Cannot wait.
And you're anticipating it to be your worst?
No. I was upgrading from Lil Wayne.
Sully?
I'm trying to think. My worst Halloween costume. I mean, I was like, in college, I was the Flash, and the costume just didn't fit. So it wasn't like a bad costume, but it looked terrible on me. So maybe that's my personal worst. It's not like an overall worst.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, I would prefer you as the Flash than Ezra Miller.
Honestly, that makes the loss way more quenchable.
The match is over. Agnolo wins again, 36.3 to 36.2. Sully almost with M. Night Shyamalan level twist, like I mentioned. Although M. Night Shyamalan doesn't make, quality horror movies anymore. That's a conversation for another day. Your final thoughts? Yeah, not a very bold take.
No, don't go into that one because nobody could rebuttal that one really.
Yes. Your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean it was we thought the match was close to over after the second round. So we revealed it. He really brought it to the 1 yard line basically at the end there. Couldn't get it in the end zone, but it was close. I'm sure you probably had to recalculate the score so many times.
I had to
make sure. I was like
multiple times.
Yeah, make sure.
It took me a bit longer. Yeah.
It was damn close at the end there. I loved all these three very different horror movies to an extent. So I love that each one had a lot of great arguments for them. Some detractors for each. So it was interesting to see.
Religion, the ocean, and sexual intercourse. Three things that I know the audience watching at home. Don't at unison. Don't even try. Don't put
it in your stories how all these relate. Gotta watch to find out.
Yep,
and
do.
Everyone who's made it to this part of the video, they're happy for that.
All right, guys. So that's gonna do it. Happy Halloween. Thank you for spending your 31st with us here on the League of Cinephiles. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more trivia and CINEMAWARS content like this, more cinema-related competition. Thank you all for watching, and as always, we'll be back to you soon. Ciao.